So let me just start off by saying that ever since this game was announced with that cinematic trailer a couple months ago, it's been on my most anticipated games list. I love vampires, it's one of my favorite lore, mythologies, whatever you want to call it. And we've been starving for, at least I have, a vampire game of this nature, right? So you're going to hear me talk very critical about some of these. The majority of the video is going to be pointing out some very critical areas that I think need a lot of work, and I was actually pretty disappointed by. So let's start by saying the combat here, to me, looks pretty bad. Below average, I would say. Now, I like how he explained it, with the different movements, how you can strike in different directions, kind of like Kingdom Come Deliverance. However, the animations look very weak. It doesn't look like I've been playing video games long enough to know when I watch a game how the combat is going to feel. This feels like your strikes have no like weight, like you're not going to feel the impact of each sword strike that you make or parry. Now I could be wrong, but that's just kind of what I'm, going off of based off the footage given here. Nothing really spectacular stood out to me as far as the move set. In fact, it looks like when he's parrying, he's chopping limbs off, and it just looks out of place. It doesn't look right. Now, I am aware. Now, this part, I will say, this upcoming part where he uses like the decapitation special move looks very fluid and cool. But that's a whole nother thing, a whole nother bag of worms that I wanted to bring up. Is that pausing the game during combat to use your abilities, that needs to go away. Like that, I don't know. That to me, that's just a very bad game design choice, and it could ultimately hold the game back overall. Because I feel like that system could be very, very like repetitive. Now, what I would think, if it was me developing, which I'm not a game developer, if I was doing it, I would make like quick slots for those abilities to where you can activate them with like the D-pad or some special like button combination that a lot of games have, where it makes those moves look more seamless. Because there's nothing wrong with the abilities; they look great, but taking you out of the game to choose which one you want is just poor game design, in my opinion. And it's odd because this game is made up of former Witcher 3 developers, and I don't know. I just everything showcased in this is pretty lackluster. Even like the city, like it looks cool. Like it's got some, like the castle in the distance over there looks really really nice. The streets and everything looks good. The map, I can say, is a plus for me. It looks very minimalistic. Kind of also like KCD2, and then the fact that they go out of their way to point out that there's other like mythological beasts, monsters throughout the world, which is really really cool. Hopefully, there's like werewolves and sirens and you know a lot of different types of monsters, not just vampires. Sort of like The Witcher 3. They talk about side quests, how you can like kind of eavesdrop, listen in, pick up a side quest, which is cool. I don't know, and the cathedral looks great. I love the crows. Some of the way the wind is swaying the trees, very very Witcher reminiscent, but at the same time, like almost like a budget Witcher, which I just don't think that's a good look. I think I wish. Basically, I think they should have waited. I admire the tenacity to show the game in this state, but as for something that has so much potential, I wish they would have just kind of waited a bit longer till it was more polished and fleshed out. Because this game is quite a ways off, anyways. I don't think we really needed to see gameplay now. but maybe that's just me. Now the rooftops, this is where it gets a lot better for me, I would say. The use of the vampiric abilities looks pretty cool and seamless. Hopefully, there's more than just the standard teleport. And I was thinking more like some heavy leaps, like some charge jumps, more speed maybe. But what I've seen so far, I mean, it looks good. I'm sure there are some more abilities they haven't shown yet, and they'll probably be adding more too, as the game is in very early development. Um, but yeah, this section here is probably the highlight for me. Skulking across the rooftops as a vampire at night is really cool. Now this I don't like. Once again, you know, feeding on your victims is very cool, and the way that they talk about it is awesome. But again, pulling up a menu wheel to decide what you want to do, and then you automatically teleport. Especially with this bar too, it just kind of like breaks the immersion, I guess is what I'm getting at. There's quite a bit of immersion breaking elements in this game, and if that's the way they want to develop it, that's fine. But it's kind of a detractor for me, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that thinks that as well. The lighting looks really good. I love this part here, the seamless transition. This is kind of something we've never seen in a game before. That plane drift, I think, is what they call it, where you're just walking up the side of a building. That's very, very cool, and actually pretty original as well. Again, just sneaking into the castle, or the cathedral, I should say. Using the claw to descend the wall is very cool. Hopefully, you can kind of do that anywhere on a flat surface, but I would imagine it's kind of limited to where you'll be able to do that move. But it looks really cool. The animation is great on it. And then here is probably the worst part that they showcase in the whole trailer, is this like boss fight where you're a vampire. To me, it looks very rough. The enemy herself, she doesn't look very like fleshed out and rendered. She looked really cool in the CGI trailer. Which brings me to another thing. I didn't see any horses or no talks of mounts, and even in the menu, I really, really hope that there's horses, because it might be a small thing to a lot of people, but in a medieval setting that's open world and huge, it's got to have horses to give it that kind of authenticity feel. So I hope that's something that they're adding in the game. Maybe they're not ready to showcase the gameplay of the horse riding yet. But anyway, back to the combat here. Now we get to see some vampire combat. I do kind of like some of the animations of him dodging and stuff, and the claw strikes themselves, but they just don't. They don't, when they hit that, like, that looks awful. Like, dismemberment looks terrible. Just really like depressing to see, and then the ragdoll effects and the blood all over him, like that blood all over him looks like it came out of a 360 era game. So the boss fight looks cool enough, very difficult, but like they said, you're not really supposed to face her right here. You're really underpowered. Again, I'm not trying to say that the game is going to be bad. I'm just saying that in this state, it's actually very disappointing for someone like me who's been waiting, a decade or more for, a vampire game of this nature. But that's pretty much it. I just wanted to kind of give you a high level overview of how I felt, and hopefully that these things are polished out and improved upon before we get this game in our hands. I know it's a long ways away. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and if you're new and you like what I'm doing, please consider subscribing. It helps me out. And that'll be all for this one. Thanks a lot. Applersky out.